It is that time of the week again when we review all of the ways in which the media covers themselves in glory. And joining us to do exactly that is Katie Halper. She is host of The Katie Halper Show and also co-host of the Useful Idiots podcast, which is now on Substack.
That's right.
Cut the cord, went independent. Great to see you, Katie, and congrats on that, by the way.
Good to see you, Katie.
Thank you. You guys too. Hi.
All right, so Katie, you got a really interesting interview that you guys talked about on Useful Idiots. Let's take a listen to the interview with Daniel Ellsberg, and you'll react on the other side.
The appreciation I've been getting since 2010, I can date very simply to the need to denigrate Chelsea Manning, then Bradley Manning, and said, oh, Ellsberg good. Malcolm Gladwell did this with respect to Snowden. Very flattering to me, filled with errors, by the way, in the New Yorker, which I didn't mention in my letter to them. I just mentioned, crazy errors, like saying that I'd been in Korea, that I was a captain in the Marine Corps. I was a first lieutenant in North Carolina. Sorry, that's not too hard to find out. But anyway, I didn't mention that when I complained to the New Yorker, which they didn't print, which was that the contrast of me with Snowden was ridiculous. You know, that Snowden is no good, Ellsberg is good. Right. That was ridiculous. And I gave a nice, very civil letter, which they didn't print in their letters about.
Really?
Yeah, right.
That's very interesting. And in fact, we have that tear sheet of the Malcolm Gladwell piece that he was referring to. Katie, just break down this dynamic, because it's not something that I had really thought through before.
Yeah, so this was a really fascinating interview that we did, obviously, with Daniel Ellsberg. And I'm giving him this kind of pep talk because he had said to me and Matt Taibbi, he said, he basically was doubting how much of an impact the Pentagon papers had. And of course, he leaked those he was the whistleblower who released those things that showed like very, illegal behavior on the part of 4 presidents, basically, vis-a-vis Vietnam. And he was doubting the impact of it because so little had changed and because whistleblowers are still so persecuted. And so I was saying that at the very least, you don't know the counterfactual. You don't know how much later the war in Vietnam would have gone on, because he was saying that it didn't end right away. Even after the Pentagon papers, it kept going. And then I said, at the very least, he's an important voice. He has this cred kind of to speak out on behalf of other whistleblowers like Assange, Manning, and Snowden. And I was really shocked when he was like, yes, it's true. It is now it's accepted that you can be a good whistleblower. And I'm that. And I'm used to denigrate them. And he just mentioned that the people who do that include Malcolm Gladwell. And it's like totally shocking, but not shocking, that, first of all, Gladwell got basic facts wrong about him being in North Korea, which he wasn't. He was in North Carolina, I guess the North and then the other word, and they both start with a "k" sound or whatever. So he was confused. But it's pretty stunning that, in addition to the problematic dynamic, which we can get to in a second, just on a technical level, he got facts wrong. And how do you not print a response from Daniel Ellsberg, who's the subject of that piece? I mean, that's just such media malpractice. I don't understand how they could do that. But again, it's shocking, but not shocking, sadly. And I think that, yeah, you have so many people who use Ellsberg as a contrast to Snowden, Assange, and Manning. And basically, that's BS. Like, there's no consistency there. And if you think that Ellsberg is a hero, which a lot of people claim to do, a lot of people will say, oh, Snowden's a traitor, he's not like Ellsberg. Well, it turns out your hero, Daniel Ellsberg, disagrees with you that there's any real difference between him and Snowden and Manning. So you may want to check your moral compass there.
It's interesting, Katie. I mean, why did you guys want to interview Ellsberg now? Like, what was there a precipitating event or anything?
Well, honestly, so I've looked up to him for a long time, and I've been wanting to interview him. And then I was lucky enough to go on the Michael Moore kind of marathon for his reaching, I don't remember, 1 million downloads, I believe, something impressive. Mm-hmm. And I went on right after Ellsberg. And I was just reminded about how exciting and he's kind of he's somewhat of a sung hero, but he's in many ways still an unsung hero. And I always think that he's like tireless and fearless, and he's been advocating for peace. And interestingly, and I brought this up in the interview, he and Noam Chomsky are both people who didn't start out like as media critics or anti-war activists, and then they kind of became that, even though Chomsky's a linguist and Ellsberg is an economist, but obviously was thrust into the spotlight with the Pentagon Papers. And I guess we want to have him on because the same problem is going on, right? Like you have a real resistance on the part of, oh God, I'm triggered by that word. The media, the corporate media really does not want to ever expose anything that the powers that be have done, unless it's Donald Trump, in which case they're looking for whatever they can. But when it comes to, the CIA, the intelligence community, the military, Biden, there's no questioning. And there's no real interest in truth. That's the thing. It's like, it's so transparent how politicized it's become. And how when you don't like the person in power, then it's okay to have whistleblowers, right? But if you do like the person, like look at Kiriakou. He's called a leaker, not a whistleblower. Why is that? And he's the only person to go to jail over the torture that was committed by the CIA. The only person is the whistleblower, not anyone who participated in it. So it's just, all of these things are as sadly as I guess Ellsberg is right in some ways that we didn't make that much progress. And It's a sad thing.
Well, and all the people who, democracy dies in darkness, are very up at arms over Trump's treatment of the press. They don't talk about what's going on with Snowden. They don't talk about what's going on with Assange. I know you have some advocacy planned on behalf of Assange. Could you just talk to us about that?
Sure. Yeah, it's a Free Assange. If you do the Free Assange hashtag, it's a forum. It's an online forum. You can do the Free Assange Telethon. Actually, it's Saturday, March 20th from 1:30 to 7 p.m. And Jen Perelman and I are co-hosting it. And it has great speakers like Chris Hedges, John Kiriakou, Shahid Buttar, Kate Willett, Ronnie Kallick, Lee Camp. I guess it's just really upsetting how little the media is paying attention to this, what is a crisis. Everyone should be concerned about what's happening to Assange. And, it's not clear that he's going to survive this, by the way. And people will look back at this. It's going to be like a real dark stain on the fourth estate, I think, the silence over this. And the fact that, there's absolutely no justification for what they're doing to him and no justification for the way. All you need to know is that he's being punished for releasing documents that somehow the New York Times and the Guardian thought was okay to publish.
Yeah. So true. Katie, thank you so much. Great interview. Congrats. And everybody should go subscribe to Useful Idiots over on Substack.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
More Rising for you later today.